Hi friends, let us now see which is the supreme god in Hinduism. So before going this, let us see how many gods are there in Hinduism. This is a video from Sadhguru Jaggi Vasudev from his YouTube channel. Let us see how many total gods are there in Hinduism.
Million gods and goddesses. That happened when our population was 33 million. Now we are 1.2 billion, but we lost our creativity.
So here, as you see, like even those considered to be enlightened gurus in Hinduism, they also feel like there are so many gods here. Okay, and he is basically of the perspective, like as I had discussed in the earlier video, that the goal of humans is actually to use gods as a stepping stone and attain salvation which is over and above them. That is the concept as per him. And this is very true that there are so many gods in Hinduism wherein each god is considered to give one specific thing. Maybe for money there is a different god, for health it is different, for knowledge it is different, like that. Alright, so irrespective of this, let us see, in case we go through the main scriptures that are there in Hinduism, will we be able to arrive at a supreme god? So here the main scriptures in Hinduism are Vedas, which are four Vedas: Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, and Atharvana Veda. And Rig Veda is considered to be the oldest scripture, which is dating back to before 1000 BC. And after that there is Bhagavad Gita, which is dated around 500 to 200 BC. And then there is Shiva Purana, which is dated actually in AD, maybe between 1 and 1100 AD. So let us go through these scriptures one by one to see, in case we can arrive at the main god. So in Vedas, Rig Veda is where which has a lot of chants towards the gods. So let us see here, like how many times the occurrences of each of the gods occur in this. Here Indra occurs some 2911 times, Agni comes in 1973 times, Varuna 580, Marut 573, and we don't even know like what Marut is. And there is this Aswin 474, Vayu 160. But none of these gods are actually worshipped in India. If you see, like Indra is considered not at all worship worthy, and if you see, Agni is only used as a means for devotion towards other gods. And then obviously Varuna, Vayu, they are held at a much lower significance in terms of worship towards God. But the main gods in Hinduism, as we know today, is Shiva, Vishnu, Lakshmi, Ganapati. If we see in these Vedas, which are the oldest Hindu scriptures, Rudra, which is one form of Shiva, occurs 155 times, while Indra is coming 2911 times, and Vishnu comes only 114 times, Shiva occurs only 15 times, Gayatri 13 times, Brahma 6 times, Lakshmi and Ganapati doesn't even come into picture. So let us see regarding this. See, this is the Rig Veda, which is the English translated version, and all the links are there in the comment section of the video. You can freely download the same and check for yourself. See here, when we type in Rig Veda Agni, we can see like in 345 pages the occurrence is, and in each page there are several times. As we see, this is the first page. Here you say I loved Agni, means I praise Agni, and Varti is Agni. Through Agni man can obtain. So there are multiple times wherein Agni comes in. So going by this, totally there is that 1700 something times. And then when it comes to Indra, again this is found in 513 pages, and again we can see there are multiple occurrences, so this comes to around 2000 plus times. And similarly, let us see what about Brahma. It is just occurring in 2 pages. And what is Brahman? It is occurring in 39 pages, which are very minimal. Shiva is not at all occurring. Let us see Shiva. this is also not there. So let us see Rudra. See, this is occurring only in 53. And let us see Vishnu. Vishnu occurs only in one page. And let us try the Vishnu. Okay, Vishnu is occurring in 69. So if we see, this 69 is very minimal when we compare to other deities which were coming in so many times, like 345 pages and so many occurrences. So it is very clear that this Rigveda, which is the oldest Hindu scripture, is mainly focused or elevating Agni and Indra to a much higher level vis-a-vis the main god which are actually worshipped in today's world, in today's Hinduism. All right, so here we are not sure like which is the main god because it's only praises. So let us see in Bhagavad Gita in case we can arrive at some main god. In Bhagavad Gita, Vishnu is being portrayed as the main god because Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Vishnu Purana, all these are actually Vishnu centric scriptures wherein Vishnu is elevated as the main deity, supreme god, from which other gods, let it be Shiva, Rudra, or Brahma, everyone actually came by. So Vishnu being the supreme god, let us see what are all the scriptures. So here it is 10th chapter and second version. So let us go to Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so this is the 10th chapter and second. Okay, let us see what it is, what it says. Okay, this is 10th second. See, this particular translation is Bhagavad Gita as it is. This is from Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who actually started ISKCON all over the world. So this is a genuine scripture wherein the translation is from a reputed person in the Hindu world. If you want, I will just show you the same thing here. Okay, see, this is by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. This is the book. It is freely available online. You can download it. The links are there in the comment section. See, this is the person who started ISKCON, International Society for Krishna Consciousness, across the world, not only in India but across the world. So this particular version can be considered genuine. Okay, so now let us go to chapter 10. All right, chapter 10, verse 2. Okay, and this particular version is also very good in terms. See, first the Sanskrit version is provided, okay, and then the same thing is actually translated in English, the same wording, and then for each of the words in Sanskrit, English meaning is provided. So here we can see whether things are matching, and to an extent we can know. And then there is a translation in English, and then there is an explanation. But anyway, as far as we understand like basic meaning, we don't have to get into that. We can just see translation. In case there is any doubt, then we can go to the purport, which is basically the commentary. So here in translation it says, neither the hosts of demigods nor the great sages know my origin or opulences, for in every respect I am the source of the demigods and sages. This is, see, Bhagavad Gita entirely like Vishnu speaks, and then sometimes Arjuna asks any questions to him. Basically, Vishnu is clarifying everything in the form of Krishna to Arjuna. So here Vishnu is telling like neither the hosts of demigods nor great sages know the origin of Vishnu. All right, and then the next is, so here it is clear that he is actually over and above all these demigods and sages. Let us see what all comes in the demigods. We can see that in okay, we'll go right away to that place. This is in 11th chapter 6th. Okay, let us go to 11th. Okay, and then 6th. Okay, here in 6 it says, "Oh best of Bharatas." This is actually referring to Arjuna by Krishna. See here the different manifestations of Adityas, which is sun, Vasus, Rudras, okay, Aswini Kumaras, and all other demigods. So here it is telling all other demigods. So Aditya, Rudras, these are also demigods. That is when we can use all other demigods as well, correct? So from here it is very clear that Adityas, Vasus, Rudras also is considered as the demigod. Now let us see whether Shiva is a Rudra or not. This we can see in chapter 10 to 20. 10. Now we have to go to 20th. Okay, this is 20th chapter. Here it says, I am the super soul. This is again what Vishnu is telling. I am the super soul, O Arjuna, seated in the hearts of all living entities. I am the beginning, middle, and the end of all beings. Number 21. Of the Adityas I am Vishnu, of the lights I am the radiance, and of the Maruts I am Marisi, and among the stars I am the moon. This is what Krishna is telling, like he is above, he is the best in this category. In Adityas I am Vishnu, so he is telling like he is best of this. And again here it tells, of all the Rudras I am Lord Shiva. This is the critical, wherein see there are actually 12 Rudras, and in that Shiva is one of the Rudras. And here it is clear that Vishnu himself is categorizing like he is the topmost in the Rudra categories, and Lord Shiva is one of the Rudras. And then as we saw in 11th chapter 6th verse, it said Rudra is one of the demigods and Shiva is one of the Rudra, so Shiva is a demigod. And as we saw in earlier in chapter 10 2, it said none of the demigods know about Vishnu because he is so superior. So from this it is very clear that in Bhagavad Gita Vishnu is considered to be the supreme being, much above Shiva, which is one of the demigods. All right. There are other scripture also where we can go to chapter 11:39. 11:39. Okay, 41. Okay, this is 39. See here this is what Arjuna is actually telling to Krishna. He is telling you are the air and you are the supreme controller. You are fire, you are water, you are the moon, you are Brahma, the first living creature, and you are the great grandfather. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto you 1,000 times and yet again. So here it is very clear like Arjuna has accepted him to the supreme creature, controller, first living creature, great grandfather, everything. Again, we can go to chapter 7 and then 19. Okay, this is 18th and then 19th. Okay. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me. This is what Krishna is telling. Knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is, such a great soul is very rare. So basically, he's telling, after many births, deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes. So here is clearly telling Vishnu to be the cause of all causes. So he is considered to be the greatest or the supreme being. And also here in next verse only it is telling, those whose intelligence has been stolen by material desires surrender unto demigods. Now what we just saw in chapter 11:6, Shiva is one of the demigods, right? As we have till now come into a conclusion based on this scripture, Bhagavad Gita. Here it tells only those intelligence which is stolen, they worship or surrender to demigod or surrender to Shiva, which is one of the demigod, and follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own natures. Okay. And then again Krishna is telling, I am in everyone's heart as super soul, as one. So here it is clear that he is telling like in everyone's heart he is the super soul. Okay. And then 723. Again here it is telling men of small intelligence worship the demigods, Shiva. So only, so here Bhagavad Gita is clearly telling all Shaivites are actually people of small intelligence. That is the reason they are worshipping Shiva, which is one of the Rudra, which is the demigod, and they are not trying to aim at the supreme God, which is Vishnu himself. So here we have adequately seen from all the scriptures that Vishnu is portraying himself to be the supreme being or the supreme god, and Shiva, one of the Rudra, is actually much lower to him, and he is even telling like men who worship Shiva is actually of lower intelligence. Okay, so now let us see what Shiv Purana has to say And because Shiva Purana is a Shiva centric scripture, obviously Shiva is being considered as the supreme god or the supreme soul, supreme being. Alright, so let us go to Shiva Purana 197th page. This is volume 1, 197th page. And again, all the links for these scriptures are in the comment section where you can freely download and cross check the same. And yeah, one main thing I have to say, see, this Shiva Purana is actually coming from certified also from Government of India, from Archaeological Survey of India. See what happens, all these scriptures, no, they are in Sanskrit and they are found probably at multiple temples or some specific locations wherein this government agency, which is the Archaeological Survey of India, has the first right, and they go and get this material and they actually hire the scholars who know Sanskrit and English and get it translated. So this is the genuine version wherein Government of India is acknowledging, and this copy you can easily get from say Delhi Central Library or some such big libraries. See here it clearly tells this is one of the ancient Indian tradition and mythology series, and Shiva Purana is one of them. This is volume 1. There are basically 4 volumes in Shiva Purana. This is one of the volume, and such Puranas there are many. Like in Hinduism there are 18 Mahapurana: Shiva Purana, Vishnu Purana, Vayu Purana, Skanda Purana. Like this there are 18 which are the main Puranas, and then there are several more which are the lower Puranas, which is not considered to be main. And this particular version is translated by board of scholars as you see here and edited by Professor J.L. Shastri. And again this is having the acknowledgement of Government of India to be the genuine version, and you can get this version. See, this is the list of all the 18 Mahapurana, and see this is from Delhi Central Library, and this is the version and date. This is 1970, so you can easily find this in any of this, and even the link you can easily download this as well. Okay, so now let us go to which chapter was it? Okay, 197th page. Okay, 197. Okay, 196. So here it is talking about how Vishnu came into existence. Here this is the discussion between Shiva and his wife Parvati, Ambika. Shiva thought within himself like this: another being shall be created by me. Let him create everything, protect it, and in the end let him dissolve it with my blessing. Having entrusted everything to him, we too, referring to Ambika, remaining in Kasi, shall roam as we please, keeping only the prerogative of conferring salvation. We can stay happily in this blissful forest, being free from worries of creation. With the consent of Shiva, the Supreme Lord spread the liquorine essence of nectar on his left side on the 10th limb, nectar which was the outcome of churning of the ocean of his mind, wherein thoughts were the waves and Sattva Guna was the precious gem, Rajas being coral and Tamas crocodile. Thereupon a person came into being who was the most charming one in the three worlds, who was calm with Sattva Guna being prominent, and who appeared to be the ocean of immeasurable majesty. O sage, he was endowed with patience. There was no one comparable to him. He had the luster of sapphire. He was glorious with his excellent eyes shining like a lotus. He was having a golden form and features. He wore two excellent silk garments of golden color. His arms were browny and brilliant. He was indefatigable. He bowed to Shiva Parameswara and said, O Lord, give me names and assign me my task. This is what that created being asked Shiva. On hearing it, Lord Shiva laughed with words thunder like in resonance. Lord Shiva addressed the person thus. Shiva said, you will be famous as Vishnu by name, as you are all pervasive. So here this is how Vishnu got created. So it is very clear that Shiva thought to himself, another created can will be made by me, and everything. So this is how Vishnu is formed. So obviously, how can Vishnu be greater than Shiva? Because see again here also it is telling Shiva vanished accompanied by Shakti. which is Ambika or Parvati and his attendants, after due obeisance to Shiva. See, Vishnu is actually paying obeisance to Shiva, and Vishnu began his great penance. Why do people do penance? To gain something that they don't have in terms of knowledge. So when Vishnu is actually doing a great penance, bowing to Shiva, being created by Shiva, obviously he cannot be greater than Shiva. But this is what Shiv Purana is telling, because yeah, as I said, like Shiva is being considered as the supreme being, but when you go to Bhagavad Gita, things reverse. Shiva is considered as a demigod, and Vishnu declares himself to be the main god. And then there are more scriptures. See, anyway, Shiva creating Vishnu and Vishnu paying obeisance and going into a penance itself tells like he is lower compared to Shiva as per Shiva Purana. Let us see a couple of more scriptures. Just so page number 215. There are actually plenty of verses wherein which clearly tells like Vishnu is subordinate to Shiva. So let us see. This is page 215, and which verse was it? 19. Okay, 19. All right. See here in Shiva Purana, this is what Taraka said. Taraka was one of the Asura, and once there was actually a conflict between Taraka, who is the Asura, and Shiva's son, who is Kumara, which is also called as Kartikeya or Subramanya. So here Taraka is talking about Vishnu and Indra. So let us see what he has to say about Vishnu. How is Taraka says, how is it that you all kept Kumara face to face with me? Kumara was actually son of Shiva, and he was not much mature. He was still probably in his um, adolescent phase. You gods are shameless, especially Indra and Vishnu. So Taraka is directly blaming Indra and Vishnu to be shameless, to have allowed Kumara to come face to face with him because he was a great Asura with lot of power and everything. For as per this myth, formerly both of them had acted in violation of the Vedic path. So he is telling like Indra and Vishnu both have actually violated the Vedic path. Vishnu is deceptive, defective, and indiscreet. It was by him that Bali was formally bound by taking recourse to deception with sinful intention. So Vishnu deceived Bali. The Asuras Madhu and Kaitaba were beheaded by his rough roguishness. He forsook the Vedic path. So Vishnu has forsaken the Vedic path is like the foundation of Hinduism. As I said, Vedas were the oldest scriptures, and these scriptures, Bhagavad Gita, Shukra, everything came after that. So Veda is considered one of the foundational stones of Hinduism. So here Shiv Purana is telling Vishnu has forsook the Vedic path itself. When the gods and asuras sat for drinking the nectar, it was he who violated the sanctity of the vows when he assumed the form of an enchantress. Thus, he slighted the Vedic path. See, this is a story which we have all seen in television or maybe read, wherein Vishnu took the avatar of Mohini or some kind of a beautiful lady enchantress, and then deceived the asuras, and gave this particular nectar to only devas and not to asuras. Taking birth as Rama, he killed a woman, Tadaka. Bali's death was brought about by him with a wild trick. A Brahmin descendant of Visravas was killed by him. This is all referring to Vishnu. Thus, he violated the injunction of the Shruti. Sinful that he was, he forsook his own innocent wife. There too, he violated the path of Shruti for achieving his selfish end. In his sixth incarnation as Parshurama, he cut off the head of his own mother. So this story also is very prevalent, wherein listening to father's words, Parshurama actually beheaded his own mother, and Parshurama is actually one of the avatar of Vishnu. So Vishnu being taken this avatar, he actually deceived many people, forsook the Vedic path, he killed his own mother. This wicked man insulted his own preceptor's son. Incarnating as Krishna, he defiled the wives of others and forced them to violate the traditional virtues of the family. He contracted his marriages without any reference to Vedic path. Because in Krishna, this one, he actually had multiple wives, Radha, Rukmini, Satyabhama, and many more. Again, in his ninth incarnation, Vishnu slighted the Vedic path and, contrary to his principles, preached and established the atheistic philosophy called Buddhism. See, even there is one understanding wherein Vishnu also took incarnation as Gautam Buddha, and he started Buddhism. And Buddhism basically tells there is no God and people can actually gain salvation without any God or anything. So basically, it's a atheistic philosophy, which here in Shiv Purana it is telling like Vishnu did it by taking the form of Gautam Buddha. Even if this is a less known myth, we have seen at least the other thing has been very prevalent. For example, Vishnu taking form of enchantress, deceiving others, in the form of Bali deceiving others, and then in form of Krishna having multiple wives. So basically here Shiv Purana is completely considering Vishnu to be a deceiver and much lower in status, not at all to be worthy to be considered as a god, or neither, or even a demigod for that matter, like that. So let us see what other things are there. Page 750, 751. Okay, this is just what we saw. Okay, so there was one more thing which we 215. All right. So that was what was talking about Vishnu, like what all negative things that he did, and then this here what we see is in Shiva is also telling what are the days of each of these gods. Like, see, Lord Shiva said, so Shiva is telling all these things, and when we come to here, he is telling the longevity of each of the gods. See, listen to the lifespan of the deities Brahma, Vishnu, and Hara. There shall not be any doubt in this respect. 1,000 sets of the 4 yuga periods constitute one day of Brahma. Okay, the period of night is also similar. Further measurement of time is based on this calculation. 30 such days and nights constitute 1 month, and 12 months 1 year. The span of life of Brahma is 100 such years. Okay, there is one particular calculation wherein 100, Brahma is having 100 years, and each day there is a calculation like 4 yuga periods. And 1 year of Brahma constitutes 1 day of Vishnu. So 100 years of Brahma will just be 100 days of Vishnu, but Vishnu will be living 100 years in his own calculation. So here Vishnu lives much more than Brahma. Then 1 year of Vishnu constitutes 1 day of Rudra. And again here, so like 100 years of Vishnu will be just 100 days in Rudra. And Rudra himself will be living for 100 years. And what is Rudra? Rudra is just one of the forms of Shiva. As we have seen even in the other scriptures, Rudra is just one of the form of Shiva. So Shiva is much higher. So here Rudra being one of the form itself stays for 100 years, and each day is equal to 1 year of Vishnu, then he is living much longer than Vishnu. So this longevity itself also tells like which would be a greater deity. So overall we saw like Shiv Purana, it is very clear that Shiva created Vishnu, Vishnu paid obeisance, Vishnu did penance, and then uh, so Vishnu is much lower than Shiva. On the second thing, Vishnu is being told like he is the deceiver, he did lot of negative things and everything. This is as per Shiv Puran. In Vishnu Puran, when we see it again tells in a reverse fashion, wherein Vishnu is considered as the supreme god, and then Shiva is considered a demigod, and even people are told like only men with small intelligence worship Shiva. So as we see these scriptures, not only they are highlighting their own deity, but they are considering the other deity to be at a much lower level than themselves. All right. So what about, so we saw Vishnu, we saw Shiva. What about Brahma? Can he be the main god? Certainly not, because not I there is not a single Hindu who actually worships Brahma, because there is one myth or a story that is going on which says like Brahma married his own creation, which is Saraswati, or maybe committed some other sin. That is the reason he is not considered a god worthy to be worshipped. So he is not worshipped anywhere. Even in entire India, there are hardly any Brahma temples. So hence he is not at all considered God. So now considering the fact that as per Shiva Purana, Shiva gave birth to Vishnu and Vishnu gave birth to Brahma. And in as per Bhagavad Gita, Vishnu is the main god, Brahma is one of the lower gods. Okay, but still Brahma is given the duty of creation, creating the world and universe. So if Vishnu and or Shiva were true, and if they were God, knowing everything in future, why did they even select a person or a entity, Brahma, who will not even be worthy of worship to be the creator? They could have selected someone else. All right. So now, what are the learnings? In Hinduism, there is no supreme God. There is no conclusion whatsoever after reading through the scripture that this is the main God. Because as we saw, all the scriptures which are focused on Vishnu tells Vishnu is the main God and completely lower Shiva to be at a very low stature. And similarly, the scripture of Shiva, which is Shiva Purana, it highlights only Shiva and tells like Shiva created Vishnu, and obviously Vishnu cannot be greater than Shiva. And again, we saw Shiva Purana actually considering Vishnu to be a deceiver, doing lot of negative things, not worthy of worship, and everything. All right. So now again, now we arrive at a question. So if a god existed in Hinduism, why did he conclusively not prove what his existence is, what is his uniqueness, what is his supremacy, and what is his name? Because we humans having our with our little brains, we can never understand God because God is so vast and elusive, we just cannot understand him unless he reveals himself to us. Otherwise it's impossible. So if there was a God in Hinduism, why he did not prove himself, his existence, his uniqueness, etc. Okay friends, thanks so much for your time, and I hope you learned something. Have a nice day and God bless.